What's up, everybody? So before we start, I probably have some of the best news I've heard in like the last 5 years of failed Marvel movies. There's going to be a new animated Avatar, officially titled Avatar: Seven Havens. Nickelodeon and Avatar Studios just announced the new animated series, led by the original show creators. Hopefully they won't get kicked off it like Netflix did. What we know so far about it is that it follows a young Earthbender this time, the next Avatar after Korra, in a world shattered by cataclysm. It's going to be 26 episodes split into 2 seasons, book 1 and 2 respectively. No cast has been announced yet, but expectations are high. Oh, and arguably even better news. An Aang animated movie drops January 30th, 2026, featuring adult Aang on a new adventure. Anyways, we had to talk about something good because today's episode is kind of messed up. So yeah. Today we're discussing Ugly Betty alum Eric Mabius being arrested during an altercation at a bar that turned violent. An Amazon driver was caught on camera running a woman over then fleeing the scene. And a group of prison guards have been indicted for beating a handcuffed man to death. Told you, pretty heavy stuff. All in today's episode of... And like always, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. Anyways, Alice, pull up the lightest of the stories first. We'll just sort of escalate from there, I guess.
Eric Mabius, best known for his role in Ugly Betty, was arrested in Florida for battery and resisting an officer without violence after a bar altercation.
Right, the Ugly Betty nice guy first. Eric Mabius is now facing legal trouble after a chaotic night in a Florida bar. Reports say he got into an altercation after his female companion was asked to leave multiple times for allegedly spitting on patrons and causing a disturbance. When she got into a physical fight with another woman, Mabius reportedly escalated things by knocking both women to the ground and pulling one's hair. It's gonna be kind of a funny "what are you in for" conversation. Well, sir, you see, I was fighting like a girl, but with some girls. Nice. By the time police arrived, the situation had already spiraled out of control. Mabius and his companion were described as extremely intoxicated, with his friend refusing to cooperate and lying on the ground, like an adult does every time you're confronted with police. Officers noted that Mabius became increasingly belligerent, ignoring commands, and attempted to walk behind a police officer during the investigation, leading to his arrest for resisting. People, if you can't hold your liquor, maybe drink at home. You know, save yourself the headache. While the charges are misdemeanors, the impact on his career could be a bit more significant. Honestly, I didn't know he had more than Ugly Betty under his belt. You know, kind of like a one-hit wonder. Anyways, it turns out that he's also been in a lot of Hallmark movies. And with an image based entirely on wholesome, feel-good entertainment, an actor being linked to a bar fight isn't exactly on brand. But at the same time, an actor running amok and then returning to the big or small screen is pretty par for the course. I mean, if anything, it could raise his profile a bit, getting himself some of that media attention and whatnot. Because as they say, no attention is bad attention.
A surveillance video caught an Amazon delivery van hitting a pedestrian in Baltimore and then leaving the scene. The driver briefly checked on the injured woman before driving away.
A hit and run is bad enough, but hitting someone, getting out to check on them, and then deciding to leave? I'm not sure, but I think that's worse. The video reportedly shows the Amazon van slowly rolling over the woman, not just hitting her, but actually running over her twice before stopping. The driver gets out, sees that she's injured and calling for help, and then just leaves. Not a call to 911, no attempt to keep her calm, just an exit stage left. The victim is incredibly lucky to have survived with non-life-threatening injuries, but the fact that the driver abandoned her is probably some life-altering, lifelong trauma she's never gonna get over. Legally and obviously, this could turn into a felony hit and run depending on what prosecutors decide. Morally, I think you're going to hell. Like straight downward. I don't think you can come back from this one, can you? Amazon, for its part, has suspended the driver, but statement doesn't offer much beyond the usual corporate damage control. I mean, the question kind of is at that point, what sort of oversight is in place for these third-party delivery drivers? As an ex-DoorDash driver, I'm gonna say there's not a lot of oversight. None, honestly. Amazon has long faced criticisms for their working conditions and pressures they put on their drivers, leading to reckless driving in unsafe situations. This incident is just another glaring example of why that is a serious problem. For now, this driver will likely face legal consequences, but you do have to wonder, how many more of these situations happen without surveillance video to capture them? Oh, and also, don't ever leave the scene of an accident. I didn't think I'd have to say something like that. You'd think I wouldn't have to say it, but here we are.
6 New York prison guards have been indicted for second-degree murder in the beating death of a handcuffed inmate, Robert Brooks, at Marcy Correctional Facility.
The tragedy that befell Robert Brooks inside Marcy Correctional Facility is a first-person view into a deep culture of violence and other problematic activities that go down within the prison system. Bodycam footage shows guards repeatedly beating Brooks, a handcuffed inmate, while others stood by making no effort to stop it. Prosecutors say the officers believe their cameras were off during the incident, raising so many red flags about what happens when they think no one is watching. And of course, to top it all off, Marcy Correctional Facility has a documented history of staff brutality. A 2022 report described officers routinely assaulting inmates in areas without cameras, between gates, inside transport vans, and in the showers. The showers is just a dangerous place in prison. Sorry, I shouldn't joke right now. Apparently and allegedly, some officers would warn new arrivals that violence was part of the prison's routine. Translation: Brooks' death is not an isolated incident, but more of a glimpse into a system where unchecked power leads to repeated abuse. The reactions to the indictment have been a little intense. On one hand, you have corrections officers who are on strike, and on the other, you have protesters in court outraged that bail was offered to these men. Prosecutors say that every officer facing charges played a role here, whether by participating in the attack, allowing it to happen, or even tampering with evidence. Dumbasses. One worker allegedly tried to clean up Brooks' blood to hide the crime. I repeat, dumbasses. The order for termination of multiple employees linked to Brooks' death has come down, but broader accountability is still in question here. Prison violence rarely results in serious charges against the officers, and without body cam footage, this case might have been ignored just like so many before it. And on that piece of dark enough of a story that I probably shouldn't be giving it an exit meme, I'm gonna call it. If you made it all the way to the end with me here, do me one more solid and hit that like button to help spread some news. Anyways, I'll catch you later. Bye!